G'day guys. So today's video is part 3 of the Seagull Models Xtreme Decathlon build series. So if you haven't seen the first 2 videos, I will put a link down below, or you could just go through and go visit my channel if you want and find it that way, but I will make it easier and leave a link down below to part 1 if you want to watch it from the start. So in this video we're continuing on with, I guess you could say, more small stuff, but we're starting to get into big things, I guess you could say. Starting to tackle probably the rest of the electronics. And I've done a few things off camera, and well, you're going to see it anyway. So let's go over to the workbench and we'll continue on from there. Okay guys, so as you can see, I have fitted the landing gear to the model. I decided to do this off camera. It's really fitting it is really anticlimactic, I guess you could say. It's just a case of fitting the axles, the wheel spats, and fitting the landing gear to the fuselage. It's pretty straightforward, just 4 bolts underneath, and yeah, not really much to write home about. And up the back here I've put the tail wheel on. I decided to do that because even though this table is high up-ish, with the fuselage just straight on the table, having to get into things. I've also put the door on. I might take it off if I have to really get into fiddly bits. Yeah, when the fuselage was down on the table, I was having to be on my knees so I could look into here and do things. So having it on the landing gear and raised up about 12 inches or so makes it so much easier. So anyway, so what I've done, so quick recap. So I made a 3D print mount for the power switch, made a 3D printed box for the power plugs to go to the receiver. Now, where's that light? There it is. No, that's not working. So, alright, there we go. I'm sorry if there's a bit of a strobing effect. The LED lights seem to have a bit of an effect on the camera screen. So, yeah, 3D printed the plugs for the box, fitted the on-off switch for the lighting system. I have fitted the kill switch for the ignition up there, and what I've also done off camera is put the LED switch, LED light for the ignition switch right there. So when the door is closed, even though you can't see it here, when it lights up you'll see it. So I've done that. And another thing I have done is, so because obviously the light module here for the light navigation lights runs on 12 volts, and this is the power switch, so it's a remote switch for the lighting system. I have fitted here a simple 3-cell 1000 milliamp hour LiPo battery. So, and there was really no need to change. I personally don't see a need to change the plugs. If need be, I have some XT30 plugs. I might, if I have to, I'll change these to XT30s. But yeah, so and the battery is both velcroed and dual lock taped on, so if I need to take it out, just take the Velcro off and then pull it off the dual lock tape. So that's where we're currently at. So what I want to do is I want to start going over the navigation lights. So it's going to be a bit of an issue, I guess, because the only light that's going to be permanent is going to be the tail light on the rudder. So I haven't got to that bit yet. That will be later on. I guess one that would be semi-permanent will be the front light that goes in here on the cowl. And when I say semi-permanent, obviously there's going to be times where I'm going to have to remove the cowl so I can service the engine and whatnot. So that means I'm going to have to make it so I can, when I take the cowl off, I can unplug the light so I don't have to worry about the light falling out. So I have the lights down below under the table here. Another thing that came to this today was this is going to be the ignition battery. So this is a Xtreme 6.6 volt receiver pack. So I know a lot of the aircraft guys may not be familiar with this brand, but Xtreme is a very well-known brand in the car racing scene. I actually have one of these batteries in my. I have a AeroWorks Yak 54. This is the receiver. I have one of these as a receiver battery. Works perfectly, but as I mentioned in the previous video, the kill switch there, they can only run on 6 volts. So this is going to be more than adequate. So I'm thinking of mounting it maybe right next to the receiver batteries, maybe. I'm not too sure yet. I just want to work it out first. I'm thinking, because with the fuel tank, I'm thinking of raising the fuel tank up so it's in line with the hole there that you can see on the motor plate, having it like that. So maybe have the ignition battery mounted underneath something for the that's lifting the tank up. I might 3D print something up there. So what I'm going to do first is get the lighting system, all the lights out, and we're going to continue from there. All right, so these are the lights that come with the model. So it comes with 4 lights. So we have this white one here is the front light. We have the rear or the rudder light. So that actually pokes through and out on the rudder. We have our starboard and port lights, or right and left, for those who are unfamiliar. So I actually have tested these. They light up pretty good. So this, obviously, as I said, this is the one that goes on the front of the cowl here. And looking at the amount of wire that comes with it, it's going to be more than adequate to go through the plate here. In fact, I might even refrain from drilling holes, and I might just get it to loop through, go up through here, and that way I just don't want to risk any structural integrity. So it's very interesting. In the instruction manual it actually says to use hot glue in mounting this light to the cowl, because obviously, as you can see here, they all come with this double-sided tape, but it's obviously going to be pointless because this has to poke through that hole there. So what we might do is I will hot glue this to the cowl, and we're going to continue on from there. Alright, so as you can see here, I have, if I can get some light on it, I have hot glued the light, front navigation light, into the cowl, and seems to look pretty good. There's no mess. So what I've done is I've given it a blob there and a bit of a blob there, just so it keeps the wire away from the engine. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fit it to the cowl, so you'll be able to see why it's going to be a bit of a pain in the butt to get it. Guess you could say what I'm going to have to do is make a mount right here for the plug where the tape is, so that way I can plug it and unplug it when I have to remove the cowl. So I'm going to try and do this as best I can one-handed. I'm sorry if it feels like the Vomitron. So that goes up there. Tell you what I'll do, guys, is I'll pause for a quick second. So I'll feed the wire in through there, and we'll carry on after I've fitted the cowl. All right, so we've got the wire through. So at the moment I have numbered them 1 through 4. So when we plug it in, so that will be number 4 there. So there is plenty of wire, and as you can see, like I said, plenty of wire. What I might end up doing is getting it and feeding it down in. So as you can see, give me a second, I'll get some light. Oh, that one is probably the worst torch going. All right. So as you can see, there's all these little holes and slots and so forth. So what I might end up doing is feeding the wire through one of those slots there and having it go underneath and up into the lighting module there. But if I move the light over here, so there's the light obviously, and we look in there, there's plenty of wire in the cowl there. So what I might end up doing is making a simple plug that just makes it so much easier just to unplug it when if I have to take the cowl off. So what I'm going to do is pause the video here, and I will be back with a finished plug. Alright, so I decided to go with a slightly different route. So since with this model and to its size, obviously with the servos at the back, I will need to make my own servo leads, like extension leads, so I can make them at custom lengths. So I have the connectors, and I have the pin crimper. It's a power box pin crimper. So you make your own, crimps the pins, and then you can put them into the plug. So I've made the plugs purely because I couldn't be bothered soldering, and I had the leads laying about. So we have the plug there, have the plug there. So what I'll do is I will connect it and show you in a split second. And there you have it, guys. So there it is, all connected. It is a bit of faffing about too, getting it connected while trying to connecting it and then fitting the cowl. So I'll definitely it's not going to be something I'll be removing all the time, but as you can see, it's all connected, and I might try and have it in a way so it still stays away from the engine. But that's the light connected, guys. So the next part is definitely going to have to sort out the wing. So what I decided, what I will do, so here is the wire for it, and what I've decided, instead of because there's some formers underneath that will make it difficult. So what I'm going to have it route it is there's the throttle servo mount. The wire is going to go just in front of that, and it's going to follow along here and then into the lighting module. So that's the not tail light, the front cowl light. I'll have a look at the rudder light off camera, but what we're going to do now is we're going to start working on the wings. All right, so we have one of the wings. So with this model, the tips of the wings are separate because of having to do the wiring. Now, if you're building one of these Decathlons, take note of the tip, because if we have a look, the profile is a little different. So this is upside down, so the under profile is slightly different in shape to the top of the profile, as you can see. So you have to make sure that you put the correct tip on the right wing, and so because otherwise it's just you're gonna muck it up. Now, speaking of which, because we're using the right wing, we'll be fitting the green light to the wing tip, and that's purely because that's how it works with navigation, both with aircraft and seacraft. So green is always right, red is always left. So what we need to do is we will fit the light to the tip, and then it will require some epoxying after that. Alright, so I have the wing standing up, got it mounted. We have the wiring going through, and it's all the way down. So what we're going to do now is stick it to the main part of the wing. Now, when you're doing it, it's always best just to do a quick dry fit, so to speak, and measure it. So we line it up, make sure that it lines up nicely. Obviously when we put the epoxy on, we've got time to move it. So as you can see now, it's flush with this part of the rib, and obviously we will test fit the cap that goes over. Bugger. Give me a second. So it always pays just to do like a dry fit, I guess you could call it. So it fits nicely. Like so. So that's how it's supposed to look. So at this point now we're going to get ready. I have some 5-minute epoxy here. But what we're going to do first is, as you can see here, there's like I guess you call it overspray or backspray. What we're going to do is we're going to give that a clean. So with my rotary tool, I'm going to have it on a low setting and just give it a slight rough up, just so the epoxy has something good and clean to adhere to. Alright guys, so as you can see here, it's not meant to be perfect and have every skerrick of overspray removed, but enough so there's some clean, give me a second, what's the word, clean wood for the epoxy to adhere to. I might repaint this area later because obviously we got the aileron here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put epoxy over here on this section and then put the tip on. So when you're doing it, guys, when you're using epoxy, in some cases it's better to put out a little bit too much than not enough. So what I'm not going to film doing it, but like I said, make sure it's better to have a little bit too much and have a bit left over than not enough to complete what you're doing. And yeah, so I'll pause here again and I will be back hopefully with this section finished. Alright guys, so it is all dried. It is set, well, it's touch dry, it's 5-minute epoxy, so that is done. The next bit to do is fit the cap over like so. Now for this, I guess there are a few ways of doing it. What I'm going to do is I have this stuff here. It is called it is Zap Canopy Glue, and what it is, it's like, it looks like PVA glue, but it, unlike normal PVA where it kind of dries clear, it dries real clear, and so you don't, but you got to be very precise, I guess is what I'm trying to say. You got to be precise in where, like, you put it on the parts that you want to glue, because you can get like smudges. So again, I'm going to pause here and do it off camera because it requires 2 hands, and yeah, I can't, I'm not like one of those comic book characters that have got multiple arms, so I got to pause here and I'll be back with the cap on. Okay, so the cap is on, the tip is on. Now as I said here, so when I said you have to be careful, so you can see how, because what I'm doing is I've got some clear tape that's stuck on there and then pulled it tight on the sides and up here just to push it up against the leading edge of the wing and the tip there. But as you can see, some of the glue has come out, but like I said, that will dry clear. But when for instance here, as you can see, There's a bit on the sides here, just with a bit of, I'm using toilet paper because it's very soft, and it'll clean up better than, say, paper towel or shop towel. Yeah, it'll clean up a lot better than that, and it won't have any streaks. So now that all that's left to do is to let that cure. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the next wing. It's the same thing all over again, so there's no point filming it. Then once we've done both wings, we are going to make another, do the same as like what I've done with the cowl, because obviously the wings need to be removed for transport, but from here to the airfield and so forth. So we need to make a new plug system. So I'll be back momentarily when we continue with the next step. Alright guys, so due to the sheer size of this model, I'm only going to show the right wing, obviously because there's just not enough room to fit both wings without having to completely clear this table and turn the model around so we can get both wings on. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show what I intend to do on this side. Plus it makes it easier for me because to film it, because with that way I've just taken the door off just so it's easier to get access. So we have the wire lead fed through the wing. Now if you're building one of these, the wing actually has tubes inside it. So I have to do it with the left wing. I'll show it. In fact, if I can get, where did I put, there it is. So inside the wing here, you can see some tubing. So there's one there and one down there. So what I need to do with this wing here is I have to pull the power lead back through. So the power lead's down there. I've got to fish it out and then start slowly threading it through this here and then through this one, and then it will come through. If I just point it out, you'll see this secondary wing spar here, and then you see that hole there. It'll come through that hole, so that's where this one's coming through on the right side, comes down. So what I'm going to do here is, given that I've got tons of, or not tons, excess lead, so there's going to be plenty of lead to cut and make an extra connector. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause here for a moment and get what I need, and we'll continue on. Alright guys, so what I've done here, I'll just get my little lights set up. So what I've done here is, as you can see, we've got the lead coming down. So what I plan to do, and this will also serve for the ailerons and flaps, I think what I'll do is I'm trying to toss up whether or not I should have one of these little they're like a wire retainer. So as you can see here, the wire goes in and it holds it. I'm tossing up whether or not just to use this one here and then have one on the other side for the left side, or have them all on one side. I'm still undecided yet. But so what I intend to do is that this will glue to the wood here, and then what I'll do is I can cut off what I want. There's plenty of wire, excess wire, so even if I feel like I cut it too short, I can bring a bit more up when I make the plug. So that's my intent, and that's what I'll do for the other side. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to glue this, cut this wire, make a plug up, and we'll continue from there. Alright, so I've made up the connector here, and as you can see I have the pretty sure it's called like a wire clip. And basically what it does, it just holds the wires in place, and also, you know, it helps neaten up the wiring. And when I've done this side here, I thought to myself, to make things easier, what I will do is I will put another one of these on this side here next to it, so that way I'll have, basically, like I said, it'll make things easier. So here I have light clip, right aileron and right flap. Then we'll have, you know, left light clip, left aileron and left flap sort of thing. So that way when I'm assembling this at the field, it's just easier to put together, and I don't have a jumble of clips just on one section. So that's that side done. I'm going to do the left side off camera, and what I'm also going to do as well, so if we just duck under the wings, the great thing about having a massive model, you don't have to worry too much, you just duck underneath it. So this is the rear light here. So this, how this works is this will go through the rudder, and it will go feed the wire in through here. So, and then the wire goes along, and there's a tube inside, it follows the tube and comes along. So you can see the tube just there, and I'm going to have it so it goes along and just follows down into there. So I'm going to do that off camera as well, but what that will also mean is I'm going to cut out the holes for the servos, so I'll do that as well off camera. So I'm just going to pause here and I will be back. Alright guys, so I have done the left hand side. I did test it out. It works perfectly. It's a little cumbersome having to move it around and put the other wing on the other side and so forth, just to make sure everything's working, but it does all work. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So yeah, I'm happy that I decided to go this way and have, you know, all the left side of the wing for the left side wing connectors and the right side wing connectors here. So when it is all built and finished, what I'll do, and I've done this in other models where I've used these, so once the wires are in, I'll hot glue over the top just to hold them in, and that way they're not falling out during flight, or they've fallen out during transport and I'm having to, you know, dig out and get them and so forth. I was going to do the rear, the rudder light here, however that requires the actual rudder to be well, start of the rudder process, attaching the rudder and the vertical stab. So I will tackle that part maybe in the next video, or maybe the video after that. So that is I'm going to wrap this video up. So if you have any questions, guys, or any tips, don't hesitate to drop a comment. The next video we will start with installing the servos in both the fuselage and the wings, and we'll also go about putting all the control rods and that onto the control surfaces too on the main wings. So that is it for this video, and until then guys, enjoy your hobby and cheers.